I don't know what kind of creature this passenger is, but I feel like this will be my last ride. I've been a driver for more than 15 years now, and even though I've driven thousands of miles in my taxi, it still looks brand new because I've taken care of it since day one, almost like it's my own child. I even met the love of my life in this taxi. Good afternoon, miss. Where can I take you?
I don't know, is this a date?
As the years went by, the family grew, and within my possibilities, I always put them first without neglecting my job. To make sure they never lacked anything, I even got used to work double shifts. I didn't complain about the weather, the terrible back pain, or the difficult customers who left a mess in my car. A 2-liter thermos of coffee, good music on the radio, and the satisfaction of making my family happy were all the motivation I needed to stay awake on the road. But I was always very responsible and would rest after long shifts. I didn't want to cause an accident by falling asleep at the wheel. Luckily, I only saw a few accidents happen in traffic but was never directly involved in one. Buddy, are you okay?
Yes, but the lady here is in bad shape. Her family will most likely sue me.
Despite having good luck, we were somewhat superstitious at home, and there were places I definitely didn't like passing through. And there were also certain hours when I wouldn't go near specific areas, not even joking.
A service is requested at Santa Marta Cemetery.
No thanks,
We need a taxi at the entrance of the penitentiary.
I'm busy,
A taxi was requested for the orphanage on 7th Avenue.
not on my shift. Call someone else. And don't think it's because I think I'm too good for it, but cause when I was younger and naive, a nun stopped my taxi at the cathedral. It was almost 3 in the morning, and she had a suitcase, so I wasn't sure if I picked her up to help her or just because I was curious.
Please take me to the bridge outside the city. I don't have any money to pay you, but here, take this. It's all I have left.
The nun told me on the way that she had decided to leave the convent to follow a man she loved madly. And they would meet at that bridge to run away together. A pretty spooky meeting point, if you ask me. I thought the whole situation was very romantic, and of course I supported her. But a couple of days later, I heard some sad news.
The body of the young novice Beatrice James, just 23 years old, was found lifeless on the riverbank, presumed drowned.
Since then, I got chills every time I passed near that bridge or had to cover services specifically at 3 in the morning.
You're not going to take such dangerous routes again?
But honey, the extra work is so you don't lack anything.
I'd rather we go without luxuries than go without you.
My wife believed much more than I did in negative energies, vibes, demons, and witchcraft. She even did a cleansing on my taxi, and after that nun's death, she wouldn't let me leave the house without blessing me and sprinkling holy water on me. I'm leaving, honey.
Take care, dear.
It's nice to have someone who cares so much about you, so I always try to give a little extra to make sure they never lacked anything. Honestly, I never thought things would change so much in my job over the years, but it's true what they say, time flies. My son was almost a man now, and the expenses for his school would only get bigger.
Honey, what do you want to study when you finish high school?
Don't push him, honey. Maybe he wants to inherit the family business and become a taxi driver, right?
No, Dad, actually, I want to be a dentist.
The career my boy had chosen was one of the most expensive ones. I needed to save up, and at that time, driver apps were starting to become popular. Honestly, my fellow taxi drivers always hated this kind of service, and I once joined their protests in solidarity with the cause. But over time, I discovered that not only did they represent better income for my family, but they also provided more safety for me and my passengers, so I joined one of them. The only downside was that the GPS always messed with the pick point. Sorry, the app sent me over there, haha. Do you want some water? Aside from that, I was very happy with my rides. During the Easter holidays, my in-laws had invited us to spend a few days at the beach. But I had a lot of work because when there are tourists in town, that's when I recover and make more money than usual. How are you, honey?
Good, Pookie Bear. We miss you.
You guys enjoy, don't worry about me. Time is flying by with so much work.
Okay, but don't overdo it. We love you.
That day I got a little rebellious, taking advantage of the fact that no one was waiting for me at home.
Hello, handsome. Why are you all alone?
But don't get the wrong idea. I mean, I took the chance to work late without worrying my wife about what time I'd get home. Then I got a notification from Tuber. The location was a spot on the road very close to the bridge where the nun's tragedy happened. While deciding whether to brave passing through that spooky place again or reject the ride, I dropped my phone and accidentally accepted it. As if that wasn't enough, it started pouring rain and my rearview mirror was fogging up. Fortunately, I managed to see the passenger standing on the side of the road and stopped as quickly as possible to avoid getting him soaked. I couldn't tell if he was wearing a raincoat or a hood, but his head looked huge. I didn't want to make him uncomfortable with my usual weather chats, so I waited for him to dry off. Good evening, or better said, good early morning, hehe. Inexplicably, the app started to give up on me. I stayed calm. Luckily, my car was still working fine, so I politely asked him for his destination to see if I could find my way. At first, I thought it was strange that the passenger didn't answer, so I turned off the air conditioning and spoke louder in case he hadn't heard me over the rain. Excuse me, where am I taking you, sir? He was one of those passengers who doesn't even respond to a greeting, but while I was trying to make eye contact or at least get an answer, I noticed a strange smell. What's that smell, honey? What did you put on my car?
It's sulfur, the smell of hell.
What?
I'm getting rid of bad energies. That's why it smells like this.
Do you think it has to do with the nun?
Of course. Please let this be the last time you take a ride at 3 in the morning. Don't mess with these things.
I don't know if at that moment I was more afraid of betraying my wife's trust or the horrible smell in my car. But it all made sense when I turned around and saw that my passenger wasn't a being of this world. He had the body of a man, perfectly upright and sitting like me. He was even dressed so elegant, but from his shoulders a hideous goat's head with long horns emerged. I wanted to stop and run, but my legs went numb and I only pushed the gas harder. The demonic creature just laughed at me while I asked questions. Who are you? What do you want from me? He handed me a note. I was scared to death, but I took it from his disgusting claws. It was a message from someone named Beatrice that said, "You should never have taken me to that bridge." When I got distracted reading it, I lost control of the wheel and was blinded by the lights of a truck coming straight at me in the opposite direction. The next thing I remember was feeling dizzy, seeing everything blurry, and only hearing a man's desperate screams.
What's wrong with you? Haven't you slept well? You're such an irresponsible driver. I'm out of here.
It had all been a horrible nightmare. Somehow, I managed to drive to the nearest gas station to call my wife and son.
What do you mean with a suit and horns?
Just like I said, honey.
Sir, you can't make calls here.
Sorry, could you check the tires, please? While I go over there for a coffee.
At least it was all just a bad dream. See why I asked you not to drive at these hours? Now, go get some rest.
Yes, honey. Just let me pay and I'll head back.
Pookie Bear, are you there?